Imagine you've labored over your magnum opus for months only to get the feedback, "What's the point?" If you want to avoid the common writing mistakes made by Joker 2, stick around. But this is for serious writers only, so be warned. Let's start with problem number 1. Writers, pay attention because this can make your story dead on arrival. In order to understand problem number 1, we need to summarize the first Joker film. Arthur Fleck starts as meek, mentally ill, and disturbed by violent thoughts. While he has some accurate critiques of Gotham society, we are not supposed to sympathize with the Joker. He offers no real way to fix Gotham's problems. His only goal is to seek revenge.
Do I look like the kind of clown that could start a movement? I killed those guys because they were awful.
Due to the failure of Gotham society, he gives in to his violent impulses and becomes a symbol of revolution. What we would expect from a potential sequel is that Arthur would start out in his Joker persona. Instead, in Joker 2, we get the Arthur from the beginning of the first Joker film. This subverts our expectations, and before you say anything, this isn't always bad. It's how you do it that matters. Here's the problem. This is a stupid subversion, and it makes the audience feel you wasted their time. When can you take risks then? If you don't take risks, your story is boring. If you take too many risks, it's a middle finger to your audience. Let's look at a successful movie when it comes to meeting expectations. Let's look at Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. And I know everyone has a Dark Knight think piece, but here's mine. An example of meeting these expectations is Batman Begins sets up the Joker and Dark Knight gives us the Joker. An example of subverting expectations is in Batman Begins, Batman becomes a symbol.
As a man, I'm flesh and blood. I can be ignored, I can be destroyed, but as a symbol, I can be incorruptible.
And in The Dark Knight, the Joker corrupts that symbol.
You want order in Gotham. Batman must take off his mask and turn himself in.
So how do we hit that Goldilocks zone between too safe and too risky? So here's the solution. Always meet your explicit expectations. You have some flexibility with implicit expectations like themes so long as you don't undercut them. Now for problem number 2, writers pay attention. If you botch this writing technique, it is fatal. In order to make the case, we need to go over the genre of the first Joker film. Joker 1 uses black comedy genre elements. According to John Truby, this advanced and difficult form of storytelling is designed to show that destruction is not the result of individual choice like tragedy, but of individuals caught in a system that is innately destructive. The fact that it is a dark comedy and not a tragedy is conveyed directly to the audience in the film.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a comedy.
The reason the black comedy genre is used is to show the Joker as an inevitability of Gotham's status quo. The rich believe Gotham's problems are a moral failing of the poor.
Better. Those of us who have made something of our lives will always look at those who haven't as nothing but clowns.
The regular citizens, in response, participate or condone violence and rioting. Both take zero responsibility. Murray, acting as a surrogate for the rich, will not acknowledge his intent was to only humiliate and moralize Arthur. Arthur will not admit that the killing of those people was wrong. Inevitably, this leads to Arthur killing Murray and Gotham breaking out into riots. The black comedy structure is therefore a part of the Joker movie's DNA. What's important is this genre distinguished it from the Batman movies, which were mainly detective, myth, and thriller. Here's where writers need to take notes. Since black comedy elements are in the first film, it is highly expected they'll be in the second. These black comedy elements are completely missing from Joker 2. Therefore, the audience feels shortchanged. But is changing genre always bad? Not necessarily. Let's look at the Alien franchise as an example. Alien was sci-fi and horror. Aliens needed to up the ante for the sequel. Remember, if something is too safe, it becomes boring and predictable for the audience. What risk they chose was in the title, more aliens. But now they needed to balance the story. The original everyman crew in the last film would get wrecked in 2 minutes in this story. So they made the humans Marines. But what do Marines do? They fight. That's right! In order to accommodate this, Aliens added more elements of the action genre. Just to oversimplify the action genre, Act 1 setup, Act 2 hiding, Act 3 kicking ass. Aliens has the epitome of an action movie's third act. In the third act, Ripley stops running from the aliens and takes them head on to save Newt. She also has to take on the mama alien. So the solution is you add not subtract genres and you justify the genres added. This brings us to problem number 3. While the first 2 problems make your writing divisive, these last 2 make your writing absolutely abominable. It starts with Joker 2's central conflict. Will he win or lose his court case, and will he be overtaken by the Joker persona? Here's how the conflict is resolved. He hears Gary's testimony, which indicates he hurt someone innocent. Also, due to his Joker persona causing prisoners to be more unruly, he is beaten and violated and another prisoner is killed. This makes Arthur realize that being the Joker won't solve anything, so he confesses his guilt. Let's set aside the total lack of self-preservation. He both loses the case and doesn't get the girl in this scenario. I guess he wanted to do what's right. Here's the problem. The plot is stuck. This is not the end of the movie, this is the end of Act 2. Unlike the other 2 problems we mentioned, this is not a bad risk. It is a structural writing problem. Don't believe me? Here's how they get themselves out of this hole. A random bomb goes off, I shit you not. Might as well be the Kool-Aid guy.
Oh, yeah!
This fails writing 101. Always prioritize suspense over surprise. Here's where I need to show you the Alfred Hitchcock quote that everyone's heard a million times. In order to figure out what went wrong, we need to explore the courtroom drama genre. Courtroom drama genre. That's hard to say. Let's look at A Few Good Men. A Few Good Men shows a case where a general lies about a hazing incident that causes the death of a soldier. The general ended up confessing in the end because he did what he thought was right to protect the country. And it ends with this famous line you've probably heard.
You can't handle the truth!
What is the conflict of this genre? Law versus morality. The general believed he was morally justified in breaking the law. But what we need to notice is this admission of guilt is in Act 3. This avoids the need to manufacture a plot afterwards, like Joker 2 did. So what is the solution? First thing you need to know, always prioritize suspense over surprise. And second, know your genre and where conflicts need to resolve. Now we're going to get to the most egregious writing mistake you can possibly make. This will cause you to fail writing 101 and all your friends and family will abandon you immediately. Okay, maybe it's not that bad, but gotta be dramatic here. To illustrate this problem, we need to look at Act 3. The conflict is, will Harley Quinn still love him? Problem is, there's no tension. The audience already knows she does not. She walked out of the courtroom. Third act can only spin its wheels at this point. Thought that was bad. Little do we know, it's going to get much worse. Arthur is in Arkham, he gets stabbed by a random guy, and then that guy is the Joker. In the theater I was in, the only faces I saw were either confusion or disgust. If your movie's called The Joker, it needs to have the Joker in it. And I guess for a more general piece of advice, your title is a promise as to what the movie is about. And if you break that promise, people are gonna get pissed. You know, it's kind of embarrassing, but I think I wrote myself into a hole here. I don't really know how to continue the video, so I wasn't able to go over every writing technique in this video, but if you click on this next one here, you can get more tips about how to improve your writing. Thank you, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.